Very good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Lasham Daily Briefing for Thursday, the 1st of May, 2025. We'll get straight into it, starting with the synoptic. Yesterday at lunchtime, to begin with here, see fairly open with high pressure centre just off to the east of the UK. We had a very nice warm day. People did make it out of gliding distance, and we had a few reasonable cross-country flights. Not too busy, but we had a steady launch rate into the afternoon. Picture then being out towards the Atlantic, quite a few frontal systems through a number of associated low pressures, namely to the southwest and the northwest there over Iceland. Cycle that through, you can see that coming from this northern depression, we have this cold front, weakening cold front, so by the time it gets to us, it will probably not be an issue. As you can see, by midday today, it's about halfway down the country, more or less along the Scottish border. Can't imagine we will have any issue associated with that. We've got a trough just to the south as well, but that's not going to cause us any problems. Midnight tonight, that's finally made its way here, and another weakening cold front has branched off from that depression out to the south. But that should pass over now fairly easily, giving us a reasonably good soaring day tomorrow. And into Saturday now. Nothing significant, but we do have this warm front approaching from the south by midday. And so we can expect a reasonable amount of upper cloud and a bit of rain as that front passes. But then going into Sunday, it should be another reasonable day and hopefully good weather for the task weekend. Looking at the sat pic for today, nothing really on there to concern. There's evidence of some of those systems up to the north and the south, but we should remain clear. Small amount of upper level cirrus, which there's evidence of outside, but nothing that will hamper our activities. Rain radar, again, small sort of frontal lines there associated with that cloud, but nothing that's going to be an issue for us down in the south of the UK. And we can just observe the forecast running through the Met Office prediction. You see that there's nothing that's going to cause us any problems. A few showers later on into the afternoon to the north of us, but nothing down here. Odium Taft then, we've got nice and simple. There's predicting 100 degrees, 2 knots, very light wind southeasterly at Cav OK. And Farnborough there saying, again, starting off 100 at 3 knots with some haze and no significant clouds. But later on into the morning, it was Cav OK. And they're suggesting it's going to become almost a direct southerly at 10 knots between 1 and 3 o'clock. Windy, very much showing an easterly flow at the moment, but that is anticipated to move around to the south. Being very light, the easterly component will be more or less negligible. We can just confirm that using the Met Office local forecast. Presently light easterly, and by lunchtime it should be direct southerly. 7 gusting 18, maximum of 10 gusting 20 during peak mixing later on. Good visibility and very high UV warning. GFS giving us temperatures of around 25 degrees in places and a dew point of 14. The camera on the south side looking west, we can see evidence of that upper level cirrus. Very little to concern us. We might see more of that come in later on this afternoon, but nothing that will be an issue. And we'll just refresh this. We're already at 19.6. Yeah, so we shouldn't have much issue hitting the trigger temperature fairly early in the day. It might be quite a short window of strong conditions, but we're anticipating another reasonably good day here. Looking on to the sky sight point forecast. See, they're actually suggesting a little bit of cumulus later on, so there may be good thermal strengths up to 5 knots. They're saying soarable up to almost 8,000 feet, some half 8,000 feet in the peak part of the day around 2 o'clock. And if looking at the potential flight distance, very briefly, you can see they're suggesting that up to the northwest looks to be the best of it today. Look at the cloud distribution on top meteor, starting at 9 o'clock local. You can see down here where we are, we do have that cirrus there shown on the chart. We run that through hour by hour. It does begin to break away. That's by 1 o'clock. Still a bit of it there, but in that proposed task area, it is a bit clearer. And by 2 and 3 o'clock, there's even a little bit of cumulus to the north of us. Nothing locally predicted, but we should hopefully get some down task. And then as we get later on, about 5, 6 o'clock this evening, we're getting quite a lot more cirrus working its way in, and into the evening does actually clear again, just in time for sunset. Okay, NOTAMs, not a huge amount to affect us. 30, we have there's Bart and Stacey as expected. Up here, 39, that's Camberley, but that's parachute dropping there. We've got this cluster just next to Camberley. That's a series of flare firing exercises. And over here, number 40, we have paragliders from up to 3,100 feet above mean sea level. And that's an Alton in Wiltshire, as opposed to the Alton nearby. We can move on to the local airfield briefing now. And we'll start as normal with the RAF Odium cross section. Very little to read there, suggesting there's a prob 30 of some cumulus, around 6,000, 7,000 foot base later on by 1:30, 2 o'clock. Depending on how hot it does get, how much energy there is potential for it to tower and then potentially form into some CBs. Although the Odium forecasters are only predicting putting in a prob 10 for that, so it is quite unlikely, but there could be some thunderstorm activity later on into the late afternoon. Got bookings. We've got 2 K21s on the full-time course flying, 1 K21 on booked instructional flying, and there's a K13 on the casual list for club members. Also got K13 allocated to the Silage Bronze course and the K13 on trial lessons. Presently got 7 on the casual list and only 1 instructor, so if we've got anybody else around be willing to come and help, that'd be much appreciated. And the simulator is available as normal. Just a reminder about noise abatement. We've got quite a lot of self-launching and TMG activity, as well as normal aerotow operations. Do just make yourselves fully conversant with the noise abatement procedures and avoid certain hotspots, particularly if we're departing on 27. Make sure we're not having an early turn of the Avenue Farms, and that most importantly, that we're not turning sort of lazy left and climb out and overflying this area here. Okay. 2XL movements. There was possibly a compass swing around longitude. They want to use 09. That's to be confirmed, and I'm going to speak to them after briefing, try and see where we are. We won't allow it to affect our operations, so if they can fit in with us, that's fine. Otherwise, we're not going to throw a spanner into the works for that. So, based on that forecast and the likelihood of paragliders wanting to go, We're going to opt for runway 27, cables on the grass to the south, air towing from the north, and we'll grid on 27 north grass. Now that will all be up for review throughout the day, and if the wind doesn't do as expected, then we may have to change to 09, but we'll opt for the downhill run with the better climb out for the private gliders. In summary, we've got high pressure, blue day with lots of sunshine, possibly some cirrus later into the afternoon. Southeasterly to begin becoming southerly. Please monitor your hydration levels, wear sunscreen and your soaring hats. Make sure we're ready when the cable or tug arrives. And this is the provisional airfield setup, gridding in the usual place on the north side, grass, winching from the south side, and airtowing on the north hard. That's all from me for the moment. We'll see you out there shortly, and we'll keep it safe. Thank you.